That hundreds of primary school pupils are self-harming follows warnings from teachers that they're seeing unprecedented levels of anxiety in their classrooms. Luke, aged 9, here portrayed by an actor, told counsellors he'd started self-harming when his life became more difficult.
Dad doesn't live with us anymore. Mum usually tells me not to worry. I'm not good at stuff. I can't do all the work. I've got all this pain in my stomach and I get really angry and stuff. It makes me want to punch somebody, but if I do that I'll get in trouble. So I hit my head instead, harder and harder until I get a really bad headache. It hurts. I don't mean to do it, but I can't stop.
Thank you for calling Childline.
The NSPCC said children as young as 7 have contacted their helpline.
That is a ticking time bomb. What we need is proper professional support to these children. If we don't, then the problem is going to escalate with each of these children. The problem is going to get much worse, they're going to harm themselves more significantly, and a number of these children could potentially die.
That 800 children under 11 were admitted to A&E represents only a fraction of those who could be affected.
Recent research suggests that for every child who ends up being treated at accident and emergency for self-harm injuries, there are at least another 8 who keep their condition hidden.
By the time children are presenting at A&E with self-harm, we've failed as a system. So early intervention, if we can stop children getting into that points of crisis, then I think that's where we would like to see mental health services going.
In your bedroom, you self-harm.
The government's newly appointed mental health champion, Natasha Devon, visits secondary schools to talk about self-harm. But she says more needs to be done in primary schools.
I think we've lived too long in a culture which values looking a certain way, earning a lot of money and academic achievement above happiness, health and fulfilment. And actually those two things can comfortably coincide, but I think it's time that we prioritised children's mental and physical health because it is suffering, and it's suffering in unprecedented numbers.
At this Birmingham school, they now employ school nurses and social workers to support the children and teachers.
Children are put under pressure, far more pressure than you and I were put under when we were at school, because schools themselves are under pressure. You know, under pressure to show children are progressing academically, and that seems to be the bottom line. When I was at school, you were cared for and loved and looked after, as well as progressed academically. And I think it's about returning and making a balance of the two.
We all want happy children like these, but as the numbers who self-harm increase, parents as well as teachers are asking what more can we do to support our children as they grow up.